Yeah.
So this is
Patron.
our Patron Q&A, Patreon Q&A for October. All of these questions came from members of our Patreon. That in the top corner up there, you can join it and ask us a question.
Yes,
and if it's a good question, we'll talk about it. And that's how this works. So,
and if it's a bad question, we'll talk about it off camera.
Exactly. So yeah, the first question. Housley says, "Hey AJJs. The Cowboy from Quarantine happens to be my favorite live from quarantine and has me up to my neck in country music, a genre I never thought I would enjoy. I want to get deeper into it, but I don't know where to start. What are some of y'all's favorite country-ish albums? Also, is there a possibility there will be a Cowboy from Quarantine Part 2?" And for those
I'll
that
answer
don't
the
know,
second part of that question.
yeah, Cowboy from Quarantine was an all country music covers episode of the stream.
Yep. There'll be more of those. I got to learn a couple more country songs. But then for sure, some of the great examples of American songwriting come from the country music genre. I'm a big fan of George Jones. I like the album that has For the Roses on it, or the album that he did with his longtime wife and musical partner Tammy Wynette called Golden Ring. I also really like Roger Miller, and maybe my favorite country album is The Redheaded Stranger by Willie Nelson. Those are my answers. What about you guys?
You want to take one, Ben?
Yeah, I'll take a couple. I really like the Carter family stuff as far as like going a little bit further back. Also Jimmy Rogers, who's like kind of got like this train hobo vibe to him, but they're just fun songs, really old timey. One of the originals. Who else? Yeah, more recently I started listening to Chris Christopherson's. So there's, I think it's maybe self-titled some places, but Sean, there's another name for it, maybe like the Silver-Tongued.
The Silver-Tongued Devil and I. Yeah, that's a sick album.
Really good album.
Blame it on the Stones.
Mm-hmm. A lot of like Graham Parsons stuff when like just kind of moving a little bit further through the chronology. Johnny Cash, Redheaded Stranger as well as Stardust and Troublemaker by Willie Nelson, and Phases and Stages is another one I really like by Willie Nelson. But yeah, and many more. But I'll let somebody else take it for a spin.
I'm gonna be really brief. Sorry. I'm just gonna say I think Old Town Road is like the only country song I've heard really lately, and I like it. And I can.
Old Town Road is sick.
It's a great song.
The what is it? Nintendo Switch Just Dance version of it. I've been getting a lot of practice in doing that. But yeah, but otherwise I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to a lot of country music. I was appreciative of Preston's podcast that he was putting on when we were touring, that explored the country music. But yeah, I'm gonna cap it there because I don't know shit about country music other than Old Town Road, which is a banger.
Preston. My intros to country were like I think Johnny Cash's Live at Folsom Prison, Redheaded Stranger by Willie Nelson, Hank Williams, I think it was called The Ultimate Collection. With country music in general, I feel like it's a little more of like a song art form than an album art form. So like a lot of like a lot of like, for example, like I highly recommend like Buck Owens and the Buckaroos, like any of that stuff. But like for a lot of country artists, like getting a kind of an essential collection is oftentimes a great way to go because it's more song focused than LP focused. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Hank, yeah, everything they mentioned, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. On like the poppier side, the Byrds country album, Sweetheart of the Rodeo, is wonderful country goodness. I don't know. I love Johnny Paycheck, and Waylon Jennings. I would recommend collections or things like that. And also the podcast that Owen was mentioning is Cocaine and Rhinestones. And also, if you're getting into country music, the Ken Burns country music documentary, like epic 10-part documentary, is awesome. If you're getting into country music, listening and watching both of those things will give you 15 threads to follow.
Recently, I've been catching on just like broadcast TV. They'll sometimes show episodes of Hee Haw. I saw one with Roger Miller on it recently, and then also they have the Johnny Cash show, which kind of has like, not specifically like country western artists, but like kind of more modern. Like Joni Mitchell was on it once. Oh yeah, which actually also brings me to there's a really great country album called, I think it's The Trio, which is Emmylou Harris, Dolly Parton, and Linda Ronstadt, which are all three amazing country artists, of course. But yeah, Hee Haw, check it out. It's really it's fucked up.
Cool. Next question. Riley Mitchell asks, what model is the guitar that Sean has been using in the majority of the Live from Quarantine?
Let's take a look. All right, everybody. What we have here is a nice Yamaha FGX3. That stands for Folk Guitar X3. I like it. It's got good electronics and it plays nicely in the room. Sounds good acoustically and electrically. 10 out of 10. Would cop.
Cool. Katie Copsey asks, hi AJJs. Sean, how do you decide on what covers to incorporate into Live from Quarantine? Also, is there any chance you'll do another Live from Florentine?
So the big deciding factor is whether I like the song and then whether I think I could do a good version of the song. Like there's a lot of songs that I really, really like that people have asked me to cover, but I don't think I would really be bringing anything valuable to the table if I covered them. I think I would just kind of shit the bed. So to answer your question, I decide on those covers based on how little I would shit the bed if I were to try to cover the song. And I'll definitely do another Live from Florentine in a little bit. I gotta exhaust my desire to play structured music, and then I'll get into some more Dionysian style shit.
Go on a noise odyssey.
To use a word that Preston taught me. Yeah.
Friedrich Nietzsche taught me, so you know. We're all standing on shoulders here. We're all standing on Nietzsche's shoulders.
I did a report on Dionysus when I was in like 4th grade or something.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. That just clicked. Yeah. The god of partying.
Yeah.
Greek god of partying.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patron saint of rock and roll. Cool. So Taylor Schmel asks, what are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey, which is something that I've heard about for years, and it sounded really boring, so I've avoided it. But I found a cheap copy a year ago, and I just cracked it open, and it's quite entertaining.
I'm reading. Go ahead, Preston.
I got a stack right here. I'm reading Swamp Thing by
Yeah, dude, I would like to check that out.
It's awesome. I've never read. I'm on book 4 of 6. I'm reading this like kind of mythography book called Hermes Guide of Souls by Carl Carigny. I am reading Homographesis, Essays in Gay Literary and Cultural Theory by Lee Edelman. And I'm reading SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard.
Wow.
That's what I'm reading. I finished I finished the Kate Bush book yesterday, and it's wonderful. Under the Ivy.
Cool.
I'm reading the newish Haruki Murakami book, Killing Commendatore, and I'm also reading very slowly Kim Gordon's autobiography, Girl in a Band. Those are just two.
I'm reading a collection of Zen Buddhism stories called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. And I just finished The Jewel Tree of Tibet by Robert Thurman. Yeah.
Uma's dad.
That's right. And his middle initials are AF. Robert as fuck Thurman.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How Robert is he? Oh, he's Robert. Yeah.
Robert as fuck.
I'm reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which is so it's like a 2-part thing where the first part is about his experiences in a concentration camp in World War II in Nazi Germany, and the second part is like his theory of logotherapy, but I'm only in the first part still, so it's a huge bummer. But
I've heard of that book. I hear it's awesome.
I'm making my way through it. It's a lot. It's heavy, but it's worthwhile to read. I'm not going to say it's like fun or anything, but yeah.
Rewarding maybe.
Yeah. Cool. Next question. Robbie Ferrero asks, Ben, what do you think of Secret Aardvark hot sauce?
Yeah, that came up when I did my hot sauce list, and I have yet to get my hands on the hot sauce. I should. I need to look it up. I need to find it. So
I did order a bottle online as a gift for somebody. So I can hook you up. I know where to get it. I got a place.
Also, check this out, guys.
Try it.
Oh yeah, do you have our PO box?
Yeah, if anybody wants to send us some hot sauce to try, we have a PO box. It's a PO box 41897, Tucson, Arizona 85719. So send all hot sauces and anything you feel like to our PO box.
I'll
PO
put that
box
on the screen.
41897, Tucson, Arizona 85719. Thank you.
If I remember when I'm editing this, I will put that on the screen.
Yeah, we should post that around for sure.
Can you make it so that you point to it and it shows up wherever you point it?
I could do that. I could try.
Nice.
I'm a professional, I guess.
I'm gonna Instagram it right now. I'm just gonna take a picture of the post office box address.
A lot of hot sauce. Hopefully.
Yeah. Man, this band got a PO box. It's fucking legit.
Yeah, we're a real band now.
Yeah,
I figured.
Come on.
Finally.
It just took 6 months of doing nothing, and we got a PO box.
You're like, well, might as well do something productive, I guess. Yeah, you guys are getting a PO box.
That's where my super cool pedal from that Russian kid came to. Straight to the PO box.
Yeah, we're also interested in pedals and any type of currency.
Well, I didn't
keep it well concealed.
I didn't include that question so we could beg for stuff. I was kind of hoping anybody have any hot sauce thoughts. I know Ben published a list already, but anybody else got any hot tips?
Palo Alto firefighter sauce.
Oh yeah,
you got to order it online. But my God,
Yeah.
I'm a big hot sauce fan, but that one has like really taken center stage in my life and on my table on my hot sauce Lazy Susan.
Hey, what's the deal with
I
it?
look forward to visiting your house to try. Yeah, I've had it many times at your house, and it's one of the highlights.
It's so good.
Staying with you.
Is it the flavor or is it the heat? Like, is it because it's so hot, or is it?
No,
like,
it's
also got a good flavor.
It's the flavor. They have 3 hot versions. But like I usually just use the milder one. It's all flavor and just a little bit of heat.
What in terms of heat? What's it comparable to for level of heat?
Kind of like I don't know, just like a non-vinegary kind of like chili paste. But I don't know. It's not that hot though. They have like the normal, and then they've got the habanero and the ghost pepper, all of which are progressively hotter.
Right.
But I would just OG, delicious.
Oh man, I wonder if we got this really good taco sauce recently that has like oregano in it. It's fucking weird. Like it tastes like it's like pizza taco sauce. But I think we're out of it, and I can't remember the name. So, really great answer.
Great joke.
It was good, but it's you'll never find it.
Am I just really too simple for liking something like? What are your thoughts on Louisiana hot sauce?
I'm a big fan of Cristal.
Great.
Okay,
So
but I mean like
Louisiana-
the brand Louisiana.
I like Louisiana, okay. But then there's like, the wider variety of like Louisiana style hot sauces and stuff.
Right. I was thinking just
uh,
brand specifically.
Yeah. I think that's okay. That's like the one in particular. I've already, obviously this is redundant, but I take issue with like the regular straight up Tabasco. I just don't think it's a good hot sauce. It's really just like kind of like a reddish vinegar sort of thing. Which I mean, if you like it, that's your personal taste and stuff. And but Louisiana also makes the other varieties, like the green one, Tabasco makes the green one as well, and the Chipotle one, which I think those are both great. But
Chipotle one's awesome.
Louisiana, we had that growing up. I think Louisiana's great. I think it's good sauce. But you're the sauce.
I like Red
guy,
Devil.
So,
Yeah,
Red Devil's good. Red Rooster is good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just got to find
the
the right
Cholulas.
place for it. Like, Cholula, Tapatio, the Mexican style stuff goes on certain foods. The, your Louisiana vinegary ones go on other stuff. Like, you wouldn't put Cholula on fried chicken unless
Hell no.
you were coming up with a
Unless
really
that's all you
cool meal
had.
right now that I might try.
I mean, I think if you only have that, I think that there's also like just any hot sauce will do in a pinch. You wouldn't like not have hot sauce on like fried chicken if you only had Cholula. I don't know, but then again, it all comes down to how you're feeling. Like it's your sauce, your rules.
I think of Cholula as like a pretty breakfast focused hot sauce as well.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys agree or not. The eggs Cholula combination seems potent to me, or some sort of scramble if you're vegan or what have you.
Yeah, I like Tapatio on like a scramble, like a Mexican style hot sauce.
I'll give me some Frank. I'll go for Frank's on a scramble.
Frank's is good.
Yeah.
Oh,
What a cool. There's so many. All right, sweet. Speaking of all this sort of stuff, Grimmy asks, who is the best cook in the band? Who's the worst? What's something you've cooked over quarantine that you're proud of?
I think we're all pretty good cooks.
Yeah.
Like we've cooked, when we're on tour and we get to like rent an Airbnb together, we usually end up making a meal and everybody kind of pulls their weight and does their part, and it turns out pretty nice. I think I wouldn't even feel comfortable saying who a worst cook is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like, we're all pretty awesome.
Yeah. We can all do it. As far as like if somebody here in this band were to make you like, okay, we're gonna make you like a really gourmet meal, Owen might be the one, because Owen's you're all about, you'll take like 3.5 hours to cut a piece of fish. and you like put more.
Shade.
But like
The German compliment.
You'll like really go. You'll like I don't know. I'm a little more like fast and dirty. You like you'll tell me like some stuff that you've been making, and you make like some serious gourmet, like some very serious gourmet food that is like way above my pay grade. Like if you want like a cool pile of stuff, I'm your guy. But if you want something fancy, I'd go to Owen.
Owen does make his own mayonnaise and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we all make our own
mayonnaise.
shit.
You make your own. True.
Yeah, I remember there was a while you were into making Caesar salads, and you were making the dressing like from scratch.
I was so into that.
Yeah, I would back Preston on this. Like, you're the most dedicated to the preparation, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, gang.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah,
what's one thing you're all
meal
stoked on?
So I made a little while ago. My dad had some eggplant that he'd grown and gave me a big bag of eggplant. And I mean, the only two things I could think of were like eggplant parmesan and baba ganoush. And I've never made baba ganoush before. I might be mispronouncing it even. But we had an evening with like a bunch of Mediterranean food. And I also like made like a chicken shawarma kind of thing. So like getting that seasoning together, I never really created that season blend for marinating the chicken. And it was amazing. Like I probably had like 7 kind of smaller eggplants, like they're like I think they're called Asian eggplants. But like they made just like this tiny little container, like it's just like this little tiny amount of baba ganoush, but it was like super flavorful and delicious. And that was a good meal. Something that like 2 different things that I hadn't tried before in one single meal, and they both came out pretty good.
Did you roast those eggplants yourself?
I did.
Or I guess you did because you got them fresh. What did you roast them on? I'm curious.
Grill.
In the oven?
I just roasted them on the grill outside.
Oh,
I think you can do them. I think you can also do them just in the oven though. Yeah, you just put them on a baking sheet. But yeah, the thing it was just so surprising to me. Like once some of that moisture leaves the eggplant, and like you cook it down, like it just creates a very small amount of food.
Yeah.
But it was good. Yeah, pretty simple. I mean, it's mostly just like the same ingredients as hummus. So like garlic, lemon, paprika, olive oil, tahini. I don't know, maybe a couple other things, but yeah. Anyone else?
I got pretty good at a certain way to cook chicken, spatchcocking. It's where you cut the back out with some kitchen scissors, and then so you do that, and then you kind of, this is going to gross out people that don't eat meat, but you cut the back of the chicken out, and then you smash it so that it like can lay flat and cook like fairly evenly throughout, and then you can either I like to salt it and leave it in the refrigerator for 24 hours to like kind of pull the moisture from it, and then put the moisture back in, however the fuck that works. But it ends up making a pretty juicy chicken. And then with that, you can either do it on the grill for like 40 minutes or roast it with, I like to roast it on top of some tomato or some potatoes and onions. And that's pretty good. But now I can do that without referring to a recipe, which is I feel like a good sign for cooking.
Cool. Yeah.
On the complete other end of the spectrum, I've been making seitan, and I can do that without a recipe now. And it's been extremely cost effective for one. Like that shit's way too expensive in a store, and way easier than I expected too. So that's been really fun to just have like make like a big bunch of it and just have like protein to throw on whatever we're making.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What are like the, without going into like excruciating detail, like what's kind of the process?
So it's basically like a bread. Like you get vital wheat gluten and chickpea flour, and you mix it together, and then you just boil it in like a broth that's flavored however you want to for like an hour, and then it turns into like this, like you work it all together like a dough, and then you boil it, and it's just that. Yeah, so seitan's been cool. I feel like I had another one that I forgot the second I started talking, so I'll just say seitan.
I've figured out a method of making pizza on the gas, on like our outside little gas grill.
Right.
And that is and so like I don't know, I'll get like a bunch of mushrooms from the farmer's market and then a bunch of vegetables from the garden. And yeah, you on the gas grill, you put on and you cook it like just like the very lowest heat for as long as you can until everything on top is good, and then you turn it up to kind of make the to kind of make the bottom like a little bit brown.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, just put it on there, low heat for long time, crank it up at the end. Very good.
So is there anything, is there like a pizza stone or anything, or is it just directly on the grill surface? Wow.
I just go straight on. I have like to get it on there, I have like a little like flat screen type of implement.
Yeah.
And so I use that to like make the pizza on and then set it on there. And then as soon as I can, I'll like, kind of pull it out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, no stone. That's why you got to do it on the very low heat for most of the time.
Okay, cool.
I've been making a very cliche quarantine thing, but since my buddy got into it, he gave me some sourdough starter, and then started making sourdough. And I've been pretty pumped about that, just because it's like every time the best tasting bread, even if it's like the actual the way that the bread looks is terrible, or like if I did something wrong, generally once you have a starter going, it's like pretty hard to have it taste bad. Like it may not be, yeah, it's fun to see the variation, because like I guess if you wanted to be really good at and consistent with it, like you got to start thinking about temperature and like humidity in your house, and I'm not about to figure that out. But so it's just been exciting to like, oh, I forgot about this loaf for a while or whatever, and then pop it in the oven and see like what happens. Sometimes it's, yeah, like really small and it doesn't look right. Sometimes it's like a nice loaf of bread. But I also discovered this sauce that's a vegan sauce through some like the Bon Appetit's website. There was like it was just part of some like roasted kale salad thing that they had going on. But the dressing was pretty sweet, and it was just really, really simple. You could probably make this, to taste, but like, sorry, I was getting a call for a minute. But the basic ingredients are oil, some kind of oil, vinegar. This one called for rice vinegar, like seasoned rice vinegar, tahini, cilantro, garlic, salt. I think that was it. It was like really, really, really simple, and then just used an immersion blender. But that combo is like, yeah, it's really, really good and very, very simple, but it makes like a nice dressing.
Sounds a little bit like Goddess, but maybe a little bit simpler than a Goddess dressing.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's
good.
probably true. And then I made some vegan dumplings. That was kind of fun. Or like pot stickers.
Ooh.
That's been a fun process. Like just make the filling, and then you sort of like fry the edges or the outside of them, and then you pour the tiniest bit of water and like quickly slam the lid on so it doesn't like explode everywhere, because you're like, you have a little bit of oil. So if you pour too much water and you leave it open, it just like, yeah, pop everywhere. But you pour water in, shut the lid for a few minutes. That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
I remembered the other thing I was going to say. We were very excited about this discovery. Been eating a lot of bean and cheese burritos, because we call them Taco Bell bean and cheese burritos. We just figured out it's just the simplest. It's just like easy, like we need food in 5 minutes thing. You just get refried beans, heat it up in a pot, you mix cheese in, you mix the sauce into that, and you just let it simmer for a little bit. And then you just dice up some white onion, and then it's just like Taco Bell consistency.
I was thinking about getting some Taco Bell hot sauce because, like, I make tacos here, and I'm just like, this would be like Taco Bell if I just had the Taco Bell hot sauce.
Yeah.
That stuff is, I don't know. I really do like that hot sauce. I should put that on my hot sauce list. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention also that our former drummer Deacon was a really good cook, and we would often do like what Sean mentioned earlier, where we'd, if we could make it so we'd stay in one place for 2 nights, we'd get an Airbnb, and we'd like have either at least one big meal where we'd go to the grocery store and like really just go all out and make a bunch of food. And he would always be the one at the helm, and great cook. And not only when we were on tour, but like when we weren't on tour, we'd always get together. And he was an adventurous cook, and he made some really cool stuff.
Incredible cook. Like, yeah, stupid good cook.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah.
He made a chimichurri once that I still think about.
All right. Next question. This will be another lengthy answer, I'm sure. Nick Lulick asks,
For sure.
What's your favorite metal genre? And what's your least favorite metal genre? So who wants to go first?
You do, Mark.
Okay. My favorite metal genre, I was thinking about this. I think the most, like, width-wise, what I've listened to the most of is death metal. Like, as far as quantity of bands, I think quality is probably lower. But I would say, yeah, that would be, by that metric, I would say death metal. Least favorite would be like probably like power metal or something like that. Some of that real corny, sing-songy dragon fighting stuff.
Oh yeah, like Camelot and Dragon Force and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
metal's for nerds, and then power metal is for the nerds of that group. So like, I couldn't get that far.
Not to be confused with power violence.
Right? No, not at all. Power violence is for drug addicts.
Specifically meth addicts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know enough. I love metal. I'm really bad at putting bands in genres. I'm just not. I never really was aware. People would play stuff, and I'd go, I like that, and then I'd remember the name of the band. So, one of my favorite metal albums that just like really encapsulates metal would be At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. And I like stuff that goes in every direction from there, but that's a really great starting point for me.
Is At the Gates death metal? What?
Yeah.
What do they mark?
Technically, people call them melodic death metal because they didn't sound like because they didn't sound like the grunty shit. They were like they had riffs and yeah, you can actually understand what he's saying.
Yeah, a little. Like a little bit more. He sounds.
It's all relative.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, musically, like the guitars and stuff are very, very melodic.
Yeah. It's not like it's not brutal enough for some people. But no, that record's a fucking classic.
I get that.
So good. Nice. Anyone?
Come on, Preston. Dive in.
I don't know. Genre-wise, like same as copying Mark's style. The genre that I've probably listened to the most in metal is probably black metal, like the I don't know, like a lot of the second wave stuff, like Emperor and Dark Throne and things. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I would necessarily name that as like like my favorite metal genre. Like I like to jump around, from from Dark Throne to, you know, to Slayer to Cattle Decap or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I also don't. I'm not a huge fan of like the power metal or like, you know, like symphonic. Anything that's like described as like symphonic, whatever.
Immune for gear.
Yeah, usually not. And although like Emperor would kind of flirt with that every once in a while. I don't. I think there are cool bands in like every genre. So I usually don't stick to just one. But black metal is probably the one that I've listened to the most.
What would botch be? That's my favorite. That's like my favorite.
Like
Metalcore.
hard, not metal.
Metalcore, baby.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right.
Metalcore, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like there's like some chugging and some you know, some like this sort of like alternating between the chugs and the.
Well, we all came up during
like
that weird time
Dillinger.
in like the early 2000s where hardcore and metal were blending, but also like people were like entrenched to hate the other person. So like, you know, nowadays people are, I don't know. I don't leave the house or talk to anybody, but I would assume people are a little more open because who gives a shit. But you know, in like 2004 or whatever, it was like, you put a fucking breakdown in that? That's not metal. And I mean, it had to do with, you know, popularity of it and shit like that. And like all these metalcore bands, like As I Lay Dying would be like the opening band for 6 Feet Under. And people would be like, it would be like a huge clash of like the kids in white belts who were hardcore dancing. And then like the middle-aged fat dudes who liked 6 Feet Under. Like, so yeah, it's definitely like Preston's joking about it, but that was a very serious drawing line for people who all liked basically the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was especially in Phoenix, like there were like people literally died fighting about this stuff in Phoenix. It was absurd. I don't know to what degree that was going on in other places, but
it was fucked up. I remember as a fan of the music, I'm just like, I just want to see a band. I don't need to know exactly what genre, but turns out, yes, you do need to know what specific genre it is. And if you don't know people there and you're not like acting the way that you ought to, like you could get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It was
I remember in high school, me and my friend went and saw Meshuggah. And my friend did not have long hair, and he was wearing a Dillinger Escape Plan shirt, and we were in line to get in, and this dude turns around and he's like, "You one of them arm throwers?" I was like, whoa, weird.
Like, no, I'm just going to see a sick ass band.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Arm
Fuck.
I'd say Botch and like Dillinger Escape Plan and Coalesce and shit. Those all, when I think of those bands, I think of Thinking Man's Metal, which is a terrible genre name.
Well, a lot of those bands too, like I don't want to lump Locust in with Dillinger because I think they sound kind of different, but they both get pretty technical and I think they all, I mean, they toured together and stuff, but like a lot of those, it's almost like metal that like where the band members don't listen to metal. Like all those bands, I think for the most part, don't really give a shit about metal. Like they want to play metal. Guys. Yeah,
because they're from hardcore, and that's why people hate them.
Escape Plan is like the like Calculating Infinity is like heavily influenced by Radiohead, that particular album or whatever. And like I remember when Mike His song was talking about Locust dudes being like and hating metal and just listening to like folk records on tour and stuff.
Sick.
Well, and like and then like just then you start, it's just like all like one tiny step away, then you start to get over to like Hella and stuff too eventually, you know, and it's interesting the continuum. Yeah.
I think the Locust is a pretty big jump though away from metal. Like I would consider the Locust more like hardcore or punk.
They're kind of like
hardcore.
thrashy.
Well, they evolved from that San Diego scene of like, you know, they were in Swing Kids, so there was like emo and punk and stuff and grindcore. Like it's an evolution of punk more so. Like it's all like it's this weird
to be metal.
It's like a convergent evolution where it's like you have like you know, emo all the way over here, and then you have like heavy metal over here, and then eventually they all just got faster and angrier, and then they were basically playing the same thing but had no common history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
You're very good at. You're my favorite TED talker.
I know a lot about very little.
For my money, I think the best metal genre, even though most of the bands in it are bad, is doom metal, because it's so democratic. You just need one, maybe two riffs, and a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then my least favorite metal genre is that stuff called gent. I worked when I lived in Michigan. I worked a Periphery show, and watching those boys wank was so lame. And their flyer had more sponsors on it than bands, which is funny because there are a lot of bands on that bill.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're including like that whole world, like easy, like not even musically, just all the like fucking weirdo misogynist like beatdown music is definitely my least favorite.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was all that. I thought it was just like lame, like actual thinking man's metal, like just bad jazz.
Oh no, I'm not accusing Periphery of anything. I'm thinking of like the Amirs of the world.
Oh, ooh, big.
Yeah.
Bad jazz is my favorite genre, though.
Yeah, John Zorn and stuff.
Yeah, give me
Oh man,
bad jazz.
Well, I stumbled on something on YouTube, and somebody compared it to like, this is like if there were 5 John Zorns in a band. They were all just fucking going off. Man.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
One John Zorn, wear me out. Just saying name. It's like I'm skronked out, man.
That Naked City record, great heavy record.
Very good.
Jazz grindcore.
Also very exhausting.
I would say, yeah, Naked City is probably the
one
worst
Zorn
jazz.
Plus one Patton.
Naked City is definitely bad. Is definitely a flagship of the bad jazz subgenre.
Is Mr. Bungle considered metal at any point, or Phantomas?
The first record, I would say.
Well, I mean, maybe the brand new. I haven't listened to the new one yet, but the new one has Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian, and you can't get any more metal than Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian.
Phantomas?
There's a new. Wait.
Sorry. The new Bungle.
There's a new Mr. Bungle.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I didn't know there was a new Mr. Bungle.
But it's Scott Ian and Dave Lombardo.
Okay. So it could be.
Are in it.
But I would say that first Mr. Bungle record probably is metal. It's heavy-ish. I don't know. And then the other two are like the weird debate team sort of music.
Yeah, totally.
We should do a genre segment in the future where people can list band names and we can discuss whether it's metal or not.
Seriously, if people just want us to talk about bands,
decide what the metal is.
I mean, if people just want us to talk about bands, this is way easy.
Oh, that'd be so for sure.
The next question I believe has bands.
Yeah, speaking of bands, Tom Farthing asks, who are your favorite British bands and why?
What a great question.
Yeah.
My God. Who's going first?
Oh man. Well,
I'm ready.
I think I can at least guess for Ben and Preston.
Yeah.
And Owen.
Okay, let's have Mark just
done. Mark's taking over.
I can guess
who our favorite British bands are.
No, go for it. I just I'll wait, hold on. I'll write them down, and then I'll write it down right now.
All right.
And then
he's writing.
All
right. While you're writing down, I'm gonna go through mine.
let me write yours down real quick.
Okay.
All right. Cool. You're done.
All right. But I might name like 20 bands. But like all right. Favorite British bands: Coil. These are not necessarily in order, but Coil is the best. Coil. Black Sabbath, Hawkwind, This Heat, Talk. I don't know. like Wire, Young Marble Giants, Tears for Fears, KLF, My Bloody Valentine, Cocteau Twins, I don't know, Queen, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Judas Priest, Chris and Cozy. How's that? That's like 15 bands. I love, but English bands, so many good bands.
Do you listen to much of the English Fleetwood Mac though? I mean, that one's a little weird, but like I do love the Peter Green Fleetwood Mac. I guess is the only the pure British. Because I guess in my mind I still consider them a British band, even though they have they're mostly British, even when they're not, right?
Yeah.
Even when Buckingham
world music
showed up. World music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, what else? I'd throw. I don't know. I might throw like Nurse with Wound in there. Joy Division, New Order. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I'll jump in and I'm gonna the Kinks. The Kinks definitely are at the top of the list. Just I'd heard really got me, like the hit song, of course. But then like when I found out about Arthur and the fall of the British Empire, or whatever that long title is, Village Green, Lola, just like those albums are so expansive and have so many different types of songs and like cool themes running throughout. And I just kind of feel like, for my money, and like they really epitomize like Beatles stuff, but like maybe like do it better than the Beatles. And then the Clash, definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. Big fan of a lot of the two-tone ska stuff, like the Specials and Madness and English Beat. The Zombies are incredible.
Oh yeah.
I know I was gonna interrupt you and tell you that you love the Zombies, but I think we are all big fans. I'm also a big fan of Kate Bush. Preston definitely turned me on to Kate Bush. It's really great stuff.
I didn't realize we were doing solo artists.
Oh, okay, we're talking about bands. Okay. I don't know. I guess could you consider? Well, this is British, so Irish bands don't count, right?
I would guess not.
Nor Scottish bands.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
So Cocteau Twins are out of there.
And My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Christy McCall. I've become really interested in Christy McCall, who did some vocals on a Pogues record and also had a solo career and is a really interesting artist.
Walking down Madison, never had a gun.
Yeah,
I like that song.
yeah. There's some good stuff in there. But yeah, who's next?
I'm going through my list. I'm just kind of writing some stuff down. If either of you dudes want to go.
Yeah, I suck at, like, I just forget everything that I've ever heard when this. I would definitely say Zombies for sure. I mean, I was gonna say I like the Beatles. I like the Beatles a lot. I could.
Fuck you!
Hey, come on.
Never heard of them.
Kook.
I've heard of them, but I've never heard them.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I think you might like them. It's easy to get way into that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Beatles are great.
Sorry, I like the Beatles.
Newsflash.
Newsflash. The Zombies. I would totally agree with most of Ben's list. Zombies and Kinks for sure. Pretty Things. I would also add to that. Like a lot of British psych stuff is pretty cool.
That first High Tide record is great.
But also Belle and Sebastian for something like a little more new is a pretty
Scottish
influential.
doesn't count.
Oh, is it Scottish? Oh, you're right. Dang it.
Near Glaswegian.
Yeah. It's gonna take me a while. I have to go through a list too.
Billy Bragg, I'll add to that. I'm sure more will trickle out. as this conversation goes on.
It's not a band, but I gotta throw. Since we're going into solo artists, we'll definitely put David Bowie. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
A given.
He had a band. He had a really cool band called Tin Machine.
Yeah, the band that invented grunge.
Mm-hmm.
He's reinvented rock music.
Spiders from Mars, right?
Yeah. Bang.
Oh, Dukes of Stratosphere is a huge band for me. That's kind of a funny one that you might not know about if you're into like pop stuff, or like weirdo kind of like Beatles worship stuff. Oh, ELO, I would definitely put ELO on my list, or and all the proto ELO stuff like The Move and the Idle Race. But similar in a similar Beatles worship zone, Dukes of Stratosphere was a side project of that band XTC, which is, I would also say, a pretty good band. But yeah, I'm not obsessed with them, but I enjoy it. Anyway, but Dukes of Stratosphere was like them trying to be the Beatles, like pretending to be the Beatles. Like instead of I Am the Walrus, they have a song called The Mole of the Ministry. And it sounds exactly like I Am the Walrus. But it's a fun listen. And they just straight up ape like 60s stuff, Beatles, Beach Boys. And they do a great job. But it's funny because it all came out in like 1990 something or 80, or maybe 80s actually, but like late 80s. It was definitely like not the cool time to be doing that music. But Dukes of Stratosphere, very, very good stuff.
What are yours, Mark?
So I was thinking, and for like modern stuff, I don't really, I guess, yeah. Okay, never mind. I got it. Caves. They are my favorite British band.
I was gonna
done.
Yeah, Caves fucking rocks.
Like I never really spent a lot of time like listening to the classics and so on. Like that whole, basically everything you guys have listed. Like I appreciate it. Like David Bowie's good. Like yeah, they're all good music. But I never really like, for some reason, thinking favorite British bands, it never occurred to me to mention any of those. Like yeah, so just shout out to Caves.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys for letting me go last. I'm sure this happens with you guys too, but it's very hard to think of things on the spot. And this person has actually asked this question before during a live from quarantine, and I totally fucking choked. So I wanted to get a little more time to come up with my answers. So here they are, my favorite British bands. And some of them are solo artists. Fuck off. Nick Drake. I really like Nick Drake. I like The Streets. I like Richard Dawson, particularly his song Jogging. I know they're actually American, but they might as well be British. The Walker Brothers. I third and fourth The Kinks. The Cure I like slightly more than another band I love, The Smiths. And cunt that he is, I really like Morrissey's solo music as well. Technically British, although known more for being American. Anthony and the Johnsons. I really like Kevin Coyne. I like the Sleaford Mods. Also Caves. I will third and fourth Caves. I like Joy Division, mostly the album Closer. I think Oasis is awesome still. And last night I watched a mind-blowing, hilarious documentary about a British group that I had never heard of before called Bros. And it's spelled the way that we Americans would spell bros, because it's a band of two very handsome boys. One of them is the singer and one of them is the drummer. And they had a bunch of hits in the 80s. And it's a documentary about their reunion. And I recommend you guys try to watch that documentary when you can, because it's really funny, really, really good.
Cool.
Called Bros When the Screaming Stops.
Nice.
Check it out. That's my answer.
That sounds great.
Oh yeah,
And the Beatles.
Iron Maiden as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Priest.
Judas
Judas Priest.
Judas Priest, yeah.
Snack Babbitt.
Yeah.
Cool. And so this is what I wrote down.
All right.
Backwards.
You're gonna have to,
I can't read it.
All right.
Can't really
it's too lit up.
So I wrote down Kate Bush for Preston, the Kinks for Ben, and the Beatles for Owen. Nailed it.
Yep,
Pretty
there it
good.
is.
I won. Cool. So the next question is from Alan Mora. What was your favorite Halloween costume you guys wore growing up as kids?
Predator. Got this Predator mask that was like the coolest mask. It was so realistic, and it was just the face piece. So my mom helped make me these like fake Predator dreads, and like and then I just had this. But it was like I went to this costume shop, I saw this Predator mask, and I was like, please, 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 please. And it was it looked so grotesque and perfect. Yeah, easy
That's
answer.
awesome.
Sorry. Passing it on.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I was Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one year, and actually, yeah, I'm thinking of another one too. But yeah, it had the hockey mask and then the crazy hair, and I guess I had a hockey stick and I think it was like all like homemade stuff. And then I was Gambit in 4th grade. I was Gambit from the X-Men.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah,
So cool.
yeah. I had I guess I had a duster, and I had like this, it was a scuba diving mask that we cut the top off of and kind of cut the sides out. And I had, a deck of cards. I think I had for baseball, the catcher has the protective shin guards and knee guards and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty thorough, and I felt pretty good about it.
Do you have a picture of that? I would really like to be able to see that.
I wish I did. I might, if I find one, I'll definitely share it with you. It's probably more likely that the Casey Jones one, there's a photo of that. But if I find it in my mom's stuff someday, I'll definitely share it.
Along those lines, I was Wolverine once.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was good. It was pretty sure it was homemade. Like my grandma sewed together like the yellow costumey thing, and then they made claws out of cardboard wrapped in tin foil.
Whoa, awesome.
Yeah.
One year I was calling back to what Preston's reading right now. I was Swamp Thing. I think the same year I was in kindergarten. But everybody thought I was the Jolly Green Giant. I had a little wand, an asparagus wand. It was I thought it was a great costume, but then I got really frustrated that no one fucking got it.
Yeah. Adults don't understand.
My favorite dress up. I wasn't quite a kid. I think I was a freshman in high school, but I showed up to school on Halloween and had the most dialed bitchin' Leatherface costume. I it was so good. I had the mask. I had a hammer. I had a fake arm. I had bloody clothes and a tie. And the best part, also, to everyone listening, in high school, that whole year, I probably said 5 words to people. This story
is so good.
I was so shy and so quiet, and so I showed up wearing this Leatherface costume, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna have a screaming competition," and there was a couple people in front of me, and they started screaming. I was like, "This is horrible! These people don't stand a chance. They don't understand." And so it became my turn, and it was outside, and I just went ballistic. I just started screaming and banged my hammer on the ground, just freaked out. And no one had seen me talk before. And I was just just freaking out. And I like they just like they didn't even they just like walked over and just like gave me the like I clearly won.
Did they set it down like 10 feet in front of you? Here you go.
Everybody backed up, and like when I started doing it, everyone was like, "Oh my god,
that kid is rad.
That kid is so cool." That was my favorite dress up time.
And that's how I won prom.
Cool. I should have put this question before that one, but whatever. Ian Good asks, if each of you could end up in any band from the past, what band would you have wanted to be in?
I would want to be in Can. That's what I would want to be in. Just like, improv, 40-minute songs. Sounds great. I'd be in Can.
I'd want to be a backup singer in for Hissing Fauna era of Montreal, because I really enjoy driving around listening to that album and singing backup harmonies. They're not. I mean, they're still like a current band. They're not really from the past, but that's one band that I remember actively thinking like, man, it would be really fun to be in this band. The rest of the bands, I would be kind of too afraid to like fuck them up.
I not the hugest fan necessarily. I am a fan, but I think I would choose Grateful Dead, just because like to be in that world, and experience the wall of sound. Like they had this crazy PA system that they built that like was, I don't know, like 40 feet tall. It consisted of, I don't know, hundreds of speakers, I believe. I don't know, just to be in the middle of that whole universe, and just like as far as just an experience to see with that. I'd be anyone in the band would be fine. I guess preferably not Jerry Garcia, but
Dude, I totally want to be Jerry Garcia. do a bunch of heroin and eat a bunch of ice cream and jam. Sounds great.
He set the blueprint.
Well, then if you were Jerry Garcia, then you wouldn't be able to like witness Jerry Garcia. I guess that maybe would be my reasoning.
Sure, you can. Out of body experiences. You said a ton of them.
Yeah, you're taking up drugs.
Yeah.
I can only think of like jokey answers, but like it'd be really fun to be like the tambourine player in the polyphonic spree.
Would it?
Just to have like 40 other people hanging out.
Yeah, I get fucking paid in sandwiches.
Yeah.
You'd rather go Tambo for polyphonic spree than like Brian Jonestown Massacre? You could play that tambourine.
Sure.
That doesn't sound like a very fun band to be in either.
Yeah, and those are big shoes to fill.
That'd be
broke my sitar, motherfucker.
Yeah, that'd be an awful band to be in.
You could be the guy who dances in Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Whoa, there you go.
Or the guy that dances in a veil.
Or the guy who dances in the Cottonmouth Kings. May he rest in peace.
Or the guy who plays kegs in Slipknot.
Oh yeah, I want to be in. They're still going, but yeah, I want to be one of the auxiliary percussion guys in Slipknot.
I love the song Exploder where they're talking about like getting the good tone out of the kegs.
Yeah, it's just like the isolated track of like bong bong. Yeah, that's Clown hitting the keg. So good.
So it has to be bands from the past. It can't be new bands.
I don't know.
I mean, yesterday was the past. Now is from somewhat in the past.
Do what feels good.
I honestly like, because they seem like they're having the most fun. I would say Deerhoof. Like, it seems like being a part of that band would be like. It seems pretty democratic, super gratifying. Like, and they just look like they're having the greatest time ever playing live.
Yeah. I just watched their Union Transfer performance on YouTube.
Oh, I'll check that out.
And fucking rocked.
They've been doing the drummer Greg has been putting funny stuff on like Instagram lately. He did this like he was reading reviews of operas from this like huge old text of like just some like arbitrary date that this opera happened, and he was like reading it in a really is fantastic.
Nice.
It's silly. Yeah.
They just put out a mega medley of covers on Spotify, and it's almost as good as the one we did.
It's also free on their website, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
It'd be funny to be in a solo artist. Like, I'd want to be in Leonard Cohen.
Well, those bands, though, I mean, the bands that Leonard Cohen had were pretty awesome. There's the Isle of Wight performance, which is just like a lot of people all like kind of crammed together, like on the stage, just like elbow to elbow. And then
Charlie Daniels on bass.
Yeah.
And then down to Georgia guy.
And then I think it was I watched like a performance on Austin City Limits for like a kind of early 90s, late 80s kind of performance. It had like a female, either 2 female backup vocals or maybe 3. And he was all dressed in a suit and he was being really funny. But yeah. What's the song like? First we take Manhattan, then the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin.
Then we take Berlin. Okay. But it was just like, I don't know. He was being a total ham in that one.
I want to watch that. I got to watch that. It sounds great.
Yeah. Check it out. Cool. So everyone's in a band.
Next question. Muyo asks, what do y'all do in your free time besides music stuff?
I like to go skateboarding, and I like to hang out with my kid, and I like to cook and read, and also consume lots of television and film.
Yeah. Garden, reading, movies. That's it for me.
Similar, except maybe like I would add drawing, like art, visual art junk to that, and to build electronic stuff is pretty fun for me when I get the wild hair.
Yeah, I love going on walks and stuff. If I can get out of the city, that's nice too. Just to like be outdoors. Sometimes quiet, peaceful places is great. I like spending time with my family. I like just tinkering with things. When things are broken, I like taking them apart and trying to figure out how to fix them. And I like building things out of wood and whatever materials. I don't know. Just like I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it, and it is it's a nice distraction. So, yeah.
I beg to differ, Ben. You're a good
woodworker.
You're really good at building things, and yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, you built me a shelf. You built me an LP shelf, and it has never broken or fallen down.
Most importantly, in the Sprinter, you built the shelf that holds all the shit that could fall on us. I mean, granted, we're putting soft stuff up there, but like that shelf has held up really well.
Yeah,
our lives depend on.
It's a good build.
Well, it's funny because like in the past, like I definitely built shelves in vehicles that didn't work out as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of shelves came before that one.
Absolutely.
It's an iterative process.
Yeah, but now you really nailed it.
I have a criticism about that shelf though, and that is just that my hands are very stupid, and the janitor's clips are so tiny. It's a very kind of a narrow target that you have to make to like clip it back. But it's a small criticism considering all that loft does for us in the band.
Yeah, well, the cool thing is like, yeah, thinking about other ways to do that too. So eventually, hopefully, finding a better way to make it work. So like, I don't know. It's always fun to me to like try to make things, even if it's just like really marginal changes, like making things work a little bit better.
That's one of the things that I think makes our band a good band. Is incremental improvements like that, and just that way of thinking.
Band of tweakers.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the water in Arizona.
Yeah.
And
Mark,
So
what
now
did you do in
free
your free time?
Addicted
to deals.
I'm addicted to deals. That's kind of music stuff.
He wheels.
I just
he
like
deals.
Oh yeah,
finding.
it counts as work.
It's kind of music stuff, but yeah, I fucking ever since quarantine started, I've just been hounding down Craigslist and OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace and just buying deals. Got to get good deals on things. But it's all music stuff because that's the only thing I really have any expertise in. I also like just finding dumb shit on the internet in general, and video games. Next question. Riley Mitchell asks, in 2019 in a Vice interview, Sean ranked the 6 AJJ albums that were out. Where does Good Luck Everybody fit into that ranking? And what did the rest of you think of Sean's rankings?
So generally, I'll tell people if they ask what my favorite AJJ recordings are. I'll say whatever the newest one is. So by that logic, Good Luck Everybody would be number 1 at this very moment. Whether that stands true, I certainly hope not. For the rest of it. But then let me pull up that article to see what you guys think. AJJ Vice.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it right
Aussie. Now. Yeah. So the order was from last to number 1. Number 6, Candy Cigs and Cap Guns. Number 5, Knife Man. Number 4, The Bible 2. Number 3, Can't Maintain. Number 4, People Who Can Eat People. And number 1, Christmas Island. So those are I like Christmas Island the most, and then it just kind of from there. What do you guys think? What's your top 6 order?
I don't know about the exact order, I'm similar to Sean. I consider Good Luck Everybody right up there at the top. To me, it's like it has touches on a lot of it, very successfully touches on a lot of the different things that the band is able to do. I don't know. I'd put it right up there.
I think I would put Knife Man maybe a little bit further up for, in my opinion. Also Bible 2. But then again, I guess it becomes a matter of something has to be at the bottom of the list. Right. So I would agree with Candy Cigarettes. But also, it was the first thing we did, the first release, so it kind of has a special place in my heart as well. So I'd put all the albums at number 1.
Cop out.
I would have put Knife Man. I would have put Knife Man a little higher up, but there were I feel like there were too many songs on it. I feel like if we had cut a couple songs, it might have been a tighter album, in my opinion.
I could see that.
I could see that too.
It's hard to think about placing Good Luck Everybody to me because it's just it doesn't feel like it belongs on this list yet because it's still just what everything is focused on at the moment, kind of. So it's just there hasn't been any time to take a step back and look at it in comparison to other things because it's just been it's the album for we were touring that album, we were playing a bunch of those songs, we were thinking about all that for the past year and a half, has just been dominated by that album to an extent that it doesn't feel fair to rank it yet.
Yeah, maybe a little bit a little too close to the case kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Good Luck Everybody can go on the list of rankings when the next album's out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I would put Can't Maintain higher. I think that one I think is really important in the history of the band as far as sort of shaping the way that the future would be, because you had you had the rocker songs. You had a lot more like bigger arrangements and things like that, and a lot more like, yeah, I think, and plus like listening to that record a bunch last year to get ready for the anniversary show that we did, like it's a good ass record.
Mm-hmm.
But cool. Anybody else got anything to add on that?
Christmas Island definitely got like as a piece of art just on its own, I think is like pretty fantastic. And it's cool because I had nothing to do with that in any capacity, and I just love that it's I think I can like very, very objectively appreciate it as a one realized piece of art. It's just got like really cool world within it that it's got. Like, I'm a big fan of albums that create a world.
Yeah.
And that one does it to me, which is I would say that like people similarly does. I think I would agree with this list pretty hard, actually. I'm looking at it, RN, but like, to not to keep complimenting Sean too much, but the songwriting gets, like, I can say that about Sean's songs, because these are ultimately Sean's songs when they start. So like, his songwriting gets better and better as the time goes on. So like, there's always going to be, the newest stuff is definitely going to be like the best stuff. And I don't know if it's just because, like, I don't know, because he's older, because he's listening to more music. But why I think I would put Christmas Island so far ahead of some of the others is like the world that it makes is pretty, especially with, it's gonna sound kind of silly, but like with the artwork as well.
Yeah,
like there's you can look at that artwork and listen to the album and really get in kind of a specific spot. So I'm a big fan of that record. But yeah, the new stuff too, like No Justice, No Peace, No Hope, Jammer, Piano Jam is like definitely, that's just a great song, period. Let alone like an AJJ song or like a Friends song. But yeah,
I like that riff. Cool.
Next question. Molly O'Brien asks, have you ever written a song that you've never let anyone else hear?
Tons.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing about making music that means you need to show it to anybody at all. Like, it's totally okay to make music and for it to be completely transitory, to happen then and no time else.
Yeah.
There was one time I had like this there's a whole mixer / workstation DAW thing. Yamaha made it, I think. But yeah, we had it. It was years ago. Me and my friends bought it, and we figured out how to use it to like record on it, but we couldn't figure out how to get recordings off of it. So so yeah, there were a couple of recordings that we put a lot of time into that eventually gave up on, and we sold the thing and it's gone. And so those recordings are just they're gone. Maybe somebody found them somewhere, but I doubt it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, someone this actually reminds me of something. Someone on YouTube, after they commented on the last Q&A video and said, somebody asked Ben about his old band, the Substandards. So I think you got a Chino person that wants you to talk about the Substandards.
That is Billy Adams, and yes, the Substandards was my Billy Adams. I know Billy Adams from third grade, I believe. I met Billy Adams, and he's still around. He checks in. Haven't seen him in a little while, but yeah, Substandards, punk band I was in high school. I think maybe started maybe sophomore year of high school. Second band I was in, it was punk. There's some stuff that we released. Some of it is good.
How many albums?
Well, we made 3 albums, one of which we never released. One of which is really bad. So like, I mean, there might be something on there that I'd be willing to share with other people, but mostly it's like, I mean, there's stuff that I'm really proud of that we did, and some stuff that is like super cringy that we did. So,
Yeah.
Let's throw it on AJJFI.
we'll put one up there. I got one in mind. We could do that. We could do the lost album.
Yeah, we should do a dump of people's old music.
Oh man, that sounds fun.
Businessman's Lunch. People need to hear your solo album, Preston.
I got a copy.
It's really good.
My calling card.
Yes. Yes.
My album that's like, let me join your band.
Great songwriting. Great recording.
Yeah.
Great playing.
Cool art, Owen.
Yeah,
Oh,
Owen.
thanks.
Just ripping it. Yeah, ripping Owen's art.
I loved how Dane this is a weird thing to mention, but how Dane Chadwick made used a Mellotron sound or something, and he just took like one of those little Korg synths that were ubiquitous forever,
Yeah.
and he a micro Korg,
Yeah.
and he made the patch that you came up with like perfectly.
Dane Chadwick, who now he makes music under his own name. For a minute, he was in Arizona, and then he played drums in Abe Vigoda for their last few years. But yeah, that dude could program a micro Korg like nobody else. It was really impressive what he could get.
Because
out
nobody
of a
else
micro Korg.
programs them.
No one else has ever programmed. You
It's just
go
all
to that-
presets.
you just go to that. Yeah, that sounds like. Oh, that sounds great. I love MGMT.
Yeah, Pro Dane.
Cool. Next question. Ariel Sackerman asks, are there any songs that have aged a little too well or the inverse of that?
Be sure to check out Good Luck Everybody, out now on AJJ Unlimited LTD and anywhere you can find fine music.
Yeah,
These
fingers
songs have
crossed
aged
this album
far
doesn't
too
age well. Fingers crossed it doesn't age very well.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Give it a couple more weeks.
But I mean, shit, like the People Who Can Eat People has a bunch of songs. We realized this on the anniversary tour, and they've just gotten even more relevant over the last 3 years. Like No More Tears and People, and yeah, just a lot like that aged. I wish those songs didn't age so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was my impression. Yeah, seeing the people show, watching that, like, yeah, just because of my proximity to the band and, like, you know, knowing you guys, you know, when that music was being made, just like, you know, like the distance is a strange thing, but then like when I saw that show and heard all those, I was like, oh my god, like it's just so, yeah, it was so relevant. Yeah. Like, yeah, even, yeah, in a way that I hadn't thought of before. Because usually, you know, when I'm like playing, yeah, when I'm playing those songs with the band, it's a certain thing. But then like sitting back and just, you know, listening to Sean and Ben play them, it's just like, wow, this is way, you know, this is way too real.
Come pick me up. This party's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Next question. Depopulate Montana asks, do y'all have any horror stories of equipment not working or just outright breaking mid-performance? This includes all you members, your assets. Have you ever broken mid-show?
I was thinking about this when I read this question. I was thinking about it. Mostly, I was thinking about other people's stuff failing. So I'll let my stuff fails, like chords break, but like not any, like, you know, other things in the band have broken in much more interesting ways.
Yeah. I'll kick it off. I had this guitar. It was I loved the guitar. It was a Seagull. It sounded really good, but there was some kind of issue where like some kind of burr or something that kept causing the G string to break. And one time when we were playing at the trunk space, on a particularly tough day for me and my brain, the G string broke and like lashed me in the eyebrow, and it like cut me and I was bleeding. And I just like, and it was also like the millionth time that string had broken, like super annoying. So I just like took the guitar off kind of calmly, and then I threw it up into the air and I just kicked it into the wall. And there was a hole in the wall, and then there was a hole in the guitar. And then I borrowed someone's guitar and promised not to kick it into the wall, finished the set, and then like just kind of broke down afterwards. That was that's my biggest equipment breaking story, although it happens kind of constantly. How about you guys? Preston's got some great ones.
Do I?
Well, okay, yeah.
Overseas.
Pound for pound, like
in Brighton. Remember Brighton? You're brand new, excited. You had the new power supply.
Yeah, and I blew it up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had, yeah, I've definitely had like
power supplies.
Yeah. I can't wait for the new power, for the new Voodoo Lab pedal power, which has international power. You can take anything. You just plug anything into it, and it's good to go.
I can't wait for it to fail you.
I know. Yeah. But
Well, it was like smoking. I remember, right? Like
yeah.
So excited, you got it all dialed in, and you plug it in, and like it was literally smoking, and it was so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, anytime that I've definitely had like pedal problems. For a minute before you fixed it, Ben, my Nord keyboard was being a little bit weird. But like over the years, I'll have like pedal problems and have to just like kind of plug straight into the amp and make that work, and no pedals of all kinds of things. Although I've always like managed to get through. It's like if my keyboard didn't work, then I would like play the songs on guitar, even though I wouldn't necessarily know. I always try to make it work, but pedals have gone wrong, amps will act up. Drunk people sitting by my amps will adjust all of the tones because they think it's really funny. I'm not going to name any names, but we all know who I'm talking about.
This is reminding me of a bunch of other stuff too. Like I think like mostly on that same tour. So there was one time like in fucking Denmark, and some guy like while we're playing just like looks at me and then like reaches over and like pushes my tuner, like turns off my bass like, in the middle of my set.
That's great.
There's another.
That was a case
instance.
of you're working. If your tuner was broken, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. Everything was working. Well, a person in the audience was broken. I
Okay,
suppose.
sure.
And then there was one, we were playing the observatory, and big show, big ending on Big Bird. big. And this fucking guy is like crowd surfing and like runs and like trips on my cable and rips it out of my bass. So like the very end of the song, just like the bass is gone completely for like the big finale. And I just remember being so fucking pissed because I'm like looking around trying to find it because like it whipped away from my bass. And by the time I plugged it in, the whole thing was over, and it sucked. So well, who's next? Owen and Mark both have good ones. So
do I all I can think of is like cello strings aren't supposed to break. You're supposed to change them like once or twice a year. So having that break in the middle of a set sucks because, for one, it's expensive, and also it takes a long time to replace. So anytime, and I've broken strings in the middle of sets before, so it's like, all right, I'll just sit out the next like 3 songs and get this all set up. So that's not great. But you sound like a more exciting time.
Well, I mean, not necessarily more exciting, but like you had a cello, like your Zeta for a while, like the pickup in it was like failing, and it was just like an ongoing, like just like it was, it was a long time where it just wasn't working properly. Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily like super exciting, but
that wasn't mid-set really. That was like it would cut out. Like the big issue was that I was trying to get it repaired. I had to ship it to Montana. for this guy to replace all the pickups, and I wound up bringing my acoustic cello to Australia. Like, the fucking like of all the times to replace an electric with an acoustic, the fucking cross globe flight is just not it. But I mean, like, I was, in hindsight, it worked fine. I was just terrified that it was going to break both ways. Oh, and you got anything good?
Drum hardware fell apart on my first show with you guys. That was cool. Like, cymbals were falling. It was just like because we took all of the drums out of the boxes, and we didn't like have time to really set it up and kind of like break it in a little bit. We just like took the drums out of the boxes, put them in the drum cases, put them in the back of the Sprinter, and then drove to Illinois or whatever. And then we got them all set up, and there's like this happened twice, actually, or maybe 3 times in a row, like at shows in a row right at the beginning. And I remember being bummed because I was like trying to make a pretty good impression. I was like, all right, these are my first shows. I really got to like, here we go. And it just was like, it all fell apart right at the beginning. Luckily, those were like hectic. There was like a hectic time for everybody. So it was like, I think kind of flew under the radar of this like, oh, this is another thing that's just going wrong.
Not to me. I totally noticed.
Same. I wrote it down in my little book of like,
points against me.
Yeah, everybody.
List of grudges.
Yeah.
I keep my little book in the top of my closet. And, sometimes I pull it out and read it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. Sorry about that time.
It soothes me. It's all right.
The kick pedal, like the beater on the kick pedal kept falling out. I remember trying to signal that there was a problem by pulling it up and like showing it, like, no kick pedal.
Weird rock move.
Wait a minute.
And everyone was like, put that back. What are you doing?
Yeah. I was like,
That doesn't go there.
Attach it. You gotta screw. You gotta tighten it.
Did you like spin it around a few times, like you like drums?
You like threw it up and caught it. Yeah.
Oh no! Somebody call the drum tech.
All right. Next question. What type? Bo Little asks, what type of music do you least like? Do you ever notice this influencing your music subconsciously just by trying not to do that? I grabbed that because Ben, you and I remember specifically we had a conversation exactly about this, where like you can be influenced by bad things just like to know not to do it.
I have a complicated relationship with music. I listen to a lot of bad music, but it's not that I don't like it. I think it's easy to avoid being influenced by music that you don't like, but I don't know. I know that the music I like isn't necessarily the music that a lot of other people like, So, but then again, like I'm totally okay with that. What do you recall from that conversation, Mark?
We were listening to some. I think we were listening to like a band that we both liked, and they had a new record. It was not we didn't like that, but we stuck with it, and we were just like, if that, like, the whole context of it was like, man, if I was making this record, I would not have done that. Or like, just like sort of studying it as a series of decisions you wouldn't make, which is to say, it would be an influence.
Like Stanger.
Yeah.
the lessons of what not to do.
Well, we're saying, like, yeah. Stanger's what you should do, though.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. What, does anybody want to hate on music? What are your least favorites?
I mean, I'm kind of take the way out. Like, besides some like real micro genres, like happy hardcore, I can definitely definitively say I don't like happy hardcore music. But most of the time it's like, I don't know, there's good stuff in every genre. Like, to me, like when I think of like bad music, it's less of like a certain sound or genre than like something that just strikes me as being full of shit or dishonest, and so like that can be in rock music or country or metal or anything. So genre I don't hate on things too much genre wise, but I definitely dislike certain musics.
I think along those lines, I just wanted to like piggyback on that. I feel like when somebody's like, what kind of music do you like? And then, the most common generic answer is like, I like all kinds of music. Or then like the stupid caveat of like, oh, don't listen to country or rap or whatever, I think the way that I prefer to approach that is like, I hate all kinds of music. It's just like, I like every genre, I could find something that I definitely hate in each genre, and on the flip side, I could find something that I like in each genre, which then it just comes down to like not really being about genres, it's about individual artists.
Yeah.
The kind of music that offends me the most is middle of the road stuff. Music that is like I would prefer it to be like stunningly, unspeakably bad or good than just kind of like whatever. And so that the pursuit of not being in the middle of the road is definitely something that kind of influences our music, like consciously and subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if one thing that came to mind is I remember like some kind of manager type dude telling me about an artist that they worked with, and they're like, this they just like sat on my couch and picked up a guitar, and like, by the end of the night they had like 5 of the 10 songs done for their next album.
Her other friends, like she's being sarcastic, like, gee, welcome.
Will you mute Owen?
Sorry, guys.
That's all good. But
5 of the 10 songs.
Learning that like this one hacky artist like wrote half their album on someone's couch, on a record label executive's couch, inspired me to work harder on my songs. So yeah, and I think I'm happy with that. Although later on I kind of had to overcorrect and remember that it is also valuable to be spontaneous and to just kind of let songs come if they want to, and to like not have to work too hard on them all the time. But yeah, like the worst kind of music is the kind that is just fine.
Cool. And then there's a second little question snuck into this one. Ben, any timeline for a sophomore album?
Timeline.
No timeline, but yes, it is something that I would very much like to do and that I am currently working on. It's just if I had a month where I could spend 10 hours a day in the studio during Monday through Friday, then I could definitely have something together. But it's cool. Whenever I find time, I work on stuff, and slowly but surely stuff is coming together. So no timeline, but definitely the intention is there.
Cool. Next question. Sam M asks, are there any of your songs that you feel didn't quite connect or resonate with your audience the way that you'd hoped?
That's an interesting question, because like when you put out a song, it would definitely be nice for people to connect with it. But if you're hanging too many hopes on that, then it's failed from the jump. That said, one song that I always enjoy playing with you guys live that I feel like the audience doesn't really care about, and that doesn't bug me too much, is our song Best Friend. It's just like a nice little mid-tempo bop. And we play it, and people kind of like politely like, and then we finish it, and it's over, and we're all like, yeah, that was great.
We did it.
And then we play a different song, and the crowd is all like, yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, that song rocks.
Cool. Roman Hernandez asks, has there ever been any disagreements in the band? If so, how do you guys resolve them?
Never.
Yeah, you stuff it down.
Yeah.
Stuff it way down,
Yeah.
and
Of
let
cour-
that rage fuel you.
Yeah. Of course there are disagreements in the band.
We're all adults.
We're all adults, but from my from where I'm standing and my in the band, it's like, I don't know, when to, ideally, like, when to pick your battles. Sometimes things just, we're people, so sometimes things get on your nerves that aren't actually justified. So like the way to get over it is like knowing yourself, being like trying to be emotionally in tune with the other members of the band. Picking battles, I suppose, maybe is one way. I'm not being very articulate on this, but
Yeah, it's hard to talk about feelings and disagreements. When conflict is the subject, like, yeah, it's hard to be articulate about things like that.
yeah.
I've learned a lot, I think, from experiences of just like the interpersonal, like really subtle. I don't know if I've like too many. I mean, like, definitely being on tour together all the time, that like the little things that sort of start to add up to frustration. Like learning how to navigate those has been something that I really treasure actually now, especially like even if it sucks in the moment, like having to admit that I'm like being passive aggressive or shitty. It's like I don't like to come face to face with that reality, but when it's the truth and I get some experience with seeing myself be shitty or not communicating effectively or something, like it's pretty great to be able to then look back on it and be like, oh well, I did do this once, and like this, every single one of those instances is a learning experience. So if anything, I would say like any of the conflict that's happened for me anyway in the band has been something where I've been really grateful to learn from it. Yeah. So and it's a kind of environment for learning those sort of for learning how to deal with those sort of situations that is pretty unique too. Like there aren't a lot of, I guess a workplace environment might be, but it's, like I've washed, Mark's underwear before. Like it's a little different than a work environment in that like we've all known each other pretty intimately. So it's like,
you don't wash your other coworkers' underwear?
Yeah, when I was working at Walmart, we definitely got into it. But that's something about being in this band, because I have never been in another band in this sort of capacity. That's something about that I'm really grateful for, because it's a really unique interpersonal environment, and there's a lot to be learned for sure.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you and Preston have said so far. I think that it's always important to just have a little bit of perspective and recognize the unique nature of being on tour with a few people in a van, oftentimes sharing one hotel room, spending all waking and sleeping hours within, or most waking and sleeping hours within like 10 feet of a few other people. It can be a challenging environment. And I would say that everyone in this band, although there might be disagreements at times, we find a way to navigate it, and where people can walk away not holding grudges and feeling long-term resentments and stuff like that. Or at least, I mean, that's what.
Except for Sean's book.
And Preston's book.
I mean,
and my book.
Oh dang!
Yeah,
I have a book too.
Really, you put it in the book and it's gone. You just said it.
But yeah, because
when
it's
it
like
works, when it works best, it's you know, you're able to talk about it and to kind of bring it up in a way that where everyone can kind of feel heard, and using a lot of like good emotional language, I statements and stuff like that. It doesn't always work like that, but when it's working best, it's we can communicate about our disagreements openly.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't.
What were you
have
gonna
it.
say, Mark?
I was just thinking like being on tour is like, you know, having a roommate and like working from home with 4 other people in a studio apartment, basically. Like,
Yeah.
you're in close quarters, and it's like, you know, if a roommate fucks up and leaves dishes in the sink, you know, you can at least go for a walk or something. So, you know, it amplifies everything. You know, and that we also work on stuff away, especially now. Like, it's not all tour centric. So, you know, there's disagreements that are it's all just communication, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at by skipping several steps. But in the end, it's all about communication.
I do love how there's like it all comes back to like us versus the world on tour, and that's kind of nice to be able to like become unified if there's like interpersonal problems. Eventually something will happen, like, and you're also like physically just moving on from everything. So if something happens in a city, it's like you move on to the next city, and even just the geographic change is like kind of a fresh start.
Just
but
running from the law.
Like, yeah, exactly. On the land. But like the next, you know, like the next time something fucked up happens, it happens to all of you, and you're immediately like unified again in some sort of like adversity that happens. Like the sound person shows up and goes,
Yeah. Then you're all in it. Yeah. Like the interpersonal stuff is like, to me, like, you know, some of the more delicate stuff. But like, for example, if there's like some kind of musical disagreement about, say, like you know, like the track order on an album or something like that, like the tack that I take is like, if there's a musical disagreement, I will say my point of view of like, this is like, if I have a strong opinion, it's like, okay, this is what I think I really feel strongly about this. This should be this way. And then it's done. And that doesn't mean like I'm going to fight, you know, like we've, you know, even like on the topic of like song orders for records, I've been, you know, very like, I feel really strongly that is wrong and this is right. But then I say it, you know, you say it and like, that's my point of view. It's not my band. I'm not in charge. Like, all I can do is like say what I think, and then we move on. And ultimately the important part isn't whether or not I got my way. It's just like saying my piece of like, this is what I think is right. And then moving on. So yeah, with musical disagreements, I feel like that is an easier way to do it. You know, and then yeah, obviously, like if it's something interpersonal, that takes a bit more care than than that.
Yeah, I have a hard time with musical disagreements. I think you're a lot better at musically disagreeing, Preston, than I am. The interpersonal stuff, like that's a bit easier for me for some reason.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But you're a good inspiration as far as like the fact that you say your piece and what you believe in musically is quite respectable. So
yeah, and ultimately, like my role in the band's like, this is, you know, like I've been doing this band for a while, but it's Sean and Ben's band, and I'm not a believer that like bands are not democracies. And most good bands are not democracies. Most bands that are like straight up democracies break up.
like
so like, you know, in that like, yeah, for someone like me, you know, for like someone in my position who's like, you know, joined the band of Sean and Ben, it's like, yeah, you say your piece, and ultimately, like if I didn't trust Sean and Ben, then I wouldn't be in the band. So yeah, a lot of it comes. It's like, okay, like if you trust, yeah, like I trust these people, so I can like I can disagree, being like, I don't think this song should be on the record. I think this song should be, and then it's like, okay, there you go, moving on to something more important.
Yeah.
Who's gonna wash my underwear? More important.
That's Owen.
That's me. I wash the underwear. I'll do
Thanks,
it.
Owen.
I also watch the underwear with you, okay?
Yeah.
Come on.
You taught me the technique of not like. This is a great little tidbit, but
you don't need to smell it first.
You don't. It's true. It'll get clean without that. Instead of trying to fold it because people are particular about how they have them folded, you've taught me of just like laying it all out as like flat as possible and then just returning it as like here's just a flat pile of clothes. You can sort it out. And I was like, oh wow, that's a very cool. Sort of diplomatic way of dealing with someone else's laundry.
Yeah.
You also don't have to fold any of their stuff.
Yeah.
I love laundry day when we're on tour. Getting to hang out in the laundromat and like draw or play video games or fucking read or do anything. It's just such a nice stillness for a moment.
Yeah.
And a temporary home base too. Kind of like, all right, this is where we're going to be for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember our last laundry day before all this stuff happened. There was like a coffee shop nearby and like just a bunch of wandering around.
Where was that?
Yeah.
I think that was in Florida.
Is it in Orlando?
I think so. We went to King Bao.
Yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah.
God, so good.
There's that weird coffee shop around the corner.
It was a weird coffee shop. The coffee was fine.
Yeah.
The guy was very nice. Too nice.
Just the whole idea behind it was just so strange. It was like it kind of had a cult vibe to me. Just as far as like we're not really a coffee shop. We're more of like a brand. A warehouse or something like that. I don't understand it.
We're like a cool co-working space for young tech people.
It was really ambitious, like the idea of it. But yeah, that was cool. That was a good day.
Yeah, remember going places?
Not
to get all bummery, but my Instagram has just been haunting me of like, here's a throwback from 2 years ago when you were on tour with blah 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 Kimya Dawson. Here's a throwback from last year when you were on tour with Antarctica Vespucci. Like, just haunted by all this shit.
How do you get your Instagram to send you your memories?
Oh, I don't know. It just pops up in my notifications.
Cool.
Like if there's been something that exact day. I don't know. It's not for every picture, but I've definitely seen some of the cool pictures I took of Kimya's sets from a couple years ago. The one at the Colony was 2 years ago, like yesterday.
I saw that. I saw Mike Campbell tagged Kimya, but not us.
Well,
saying it was one of his favorite shows that he ever booked.
Well, that's
like, thanks, Mike.
Her set was his favorite show.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Mike Campbell show too. Her set.
So the last question to go out. Keith Gifford writes, I've heard King Tut was born in Arizona, but moved to Babylonia. Have any of you met King Tut? Would you ever consider moving to Babylonia yourselves? Like for a boy king position? Thank you all so much for your music.
You're welcome.
I would definitely consider. Oh, Ben, you start.
Just as far as Egyptology stuff, fun fact about Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Papago Park has a pyramid tomb that the first governor and I think his family are buried in. It's cool. If you get a chance, you're in Phoenix, you have some time to kill, you can walk up to it, and there is a pyramid with our governor entombed in it. And I guess Owen was also saying that not only was he our first governor, he's like our second governor and fourth governor and sixth governor and a lot of governing. But he's not like his name isn't really attached to like anything. You know how like typically a founder or somebody that's like an important part of like starting something will have their name on a park and a road and all that kind of stuff. Like his name is nowhere to be found. It's kind of a bit of a black eye, I think, in our state's history.
Whoa. Do you know the name?
What is it? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm gonna look it up while somebody else takes the rest of the question, if anyone dares.
I would fuck with Babylonia under certain conditions because because Inanna Ishtar rocks. But I only want to go to Babylonia under the rulership of Hammurabi, Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebuchadnezzar II. So if I could go to Babylonia in those times, I would. So I could worship Inanna Ishtar, and that'd be awesome. But that's the only times. I don't want to go there when like the Assyrians are coming down and fucking shit up. I don't want to go to it while they're going back and forth with Egypt because that just sounds rough to fight Egypt.
You want to go there before they burn down the first library. You want to go check out the first library.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to check out the libraries. I think it was I don't know if it was Nebuchadnezzar the First or Nebuchadnezzar. I think it was Nebuchadnezzar the Second that did the Hanging Gardens.
Oh yeah.
I would have loved. Yeah. So yeah, Nebuchadnezzar the Second. I would definitely go there that time.
Did you get it?
My,
I found it.
I mean, yeah, it's just the first thing that pops up. George Wiley Paul Hunt was an American politician and businessman, serving a total of 7 terms as governor of Arizona. But yeah, like Hunt's not really like a popular name. Like they're like Hayden's a popular name around Arizona, and like some of the other ones. Goldwater, yeah, like all that. I can't think of anything that's named after Hunt.
Yeah.
But so there's that.
Cool. So
Yeah.
that's all the questions for this month.
We did it.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
We answered most of them. Some of them got even good answers.
Quite a few.
We'll do this again next month. Again, if you, the viewer, have made it this far and would like to join our Patreon, it's www.patreon.com/AJJtheband. Give us $1 a month. You can give us $10 a month. Different tiers, different stuff. We post music and these things and artworks, and get access to AJJify, which is the only streaming platform composed entirely of AJJ music. And the end. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh,
That's a cute kitty.
Yeah.